Good afternoon to all the crypto enthusiasts out there. What a good day to be in crypto, huh? Since again, we're talking about a very significant day. Today we're going to be working on altcoin news, but obviously we have to mention Trump's victory. Quite important, quite significant. We're going to go into details, obviously not into complete details, but we're going to mention what's the best outcome that is actually happening currently for the crypto community with this victory. Now, why am I saying this? Before we explain,
back again. Trump is back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? 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 Bing 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 bing.
so this is the second actually president that managed to do this kind of a situation where he actually won the first presidency, then unfortunately lost the second time, and then won again. Now, obviously, as we can see, with 277 electoral votes, Trump is actually the next president of America for the next 4 years. Now, we're not going to go into details about who, why, when. That's not important at all. We're going to focus mostly on the positive side for the crypto and obviously macroeconomical, let's say, in these situations. As we have explained in previous week's video about the pluses and minuses of both candidates, that's why I'm saying we're not going to go into details. But the most important part that we need to understand is, first of all, the support that Trump will have as the new president of America. Why am I saying this? Because as you can see by now, Trump will have majority in the Senate, where we can see that he has more than 50 seats, which means that he will have a very big support regarding any legislation that he wants to pass. Additionally, we can see that they are on the road to have also majority in the Congress. With a majority in the Congress and in the Senate, the Republican Party will have a very open road to work on all the legislation that is currently behind. Why am I saying this? Because as you know, there is more than 7 current laws that needs to be passed through the Congress and then onward to the Senate and signed by the president. All these, including the stable bill, the stablecoin bill, including generally laws about crypto mining, etc., which is very important because, again, from this point onwards, we're talking about a situation where all this can go very easy and very fast. Let's not forget that and again, for everybody that is watching this channel, obviously the most important part of the promises of Trump is actually everything he promised about the crypto industry, including, and one of the most important, firing Gary Gensler, which will happen potentially on the first day of Trump's taking over the White House, as he promised. Obviously, we will see if that's going to happen. But in this case, this is very positive for us because the first and most important part we need to talk about is the choke point 2.0 operation. This is practically an operation that previously was done in the Obama presidency that actually has a route into exterminating businesses that are not practically welcomed by the administration at this time. So what they did for the last 4 years with obviously Biden at the helm of this administration, they were trying to practically root out the crypto industry by not allowing the banking industry to give them services. We're not going to again go into details. This is something that takes like a full video for itself, but very importantly, Gary Gensler in this case will not be able to stop what was previously attempted to stop this choke point 2.0 operation. In this case, the Congress actually did a proposal to practically stop this, let's say, act that was brought on by the SEC, where the obviously the Security and Exchange Commission. So in this case, practically, we will be able to finalize this, let's say, dislodging of this kind of an operation that was until now trying to strangle the crypto industry in US. After that, obviously, we're talking about the regulation as well. Let's not forget that most of these procedures, like against obviously Ripple XRP, then let's not forget a lot of projects out there, including Uniswap, including MetaMask, including let's say Binance and Coinbase. Now, since yesterday, IMX, Immutable X. So practically we are talking about a lot of projects that are actually really suffering because of this administration. So bye bye Gary Gensler, nobody will miss you, my friend. Enough is enough. Now let's remember that we were actually discussing about the chart itself, what we are expecting. And if you remember on our last technical analysis, we were discussing that right about this previous top around 74,000, we are expecting a massive short squeeze to be practically in this, let's say, part of the chart. What did we get? The moment that we practically came close to the previous all-time high and we passed it, we got exactly that, a massive short squeeze of $353 million of liquidations right about the previous all-time high. I am expecting that this is going to continue, obviously, since we're talking about a, let's say, field that I'm expecting to be full of these short squeeze zones until 80,000. Obviously, we will see how this is going to progress, because this is the first day after we have actually got the result that Trump will be president. And obviously, we can see not only Bitcoin, which is currently up 7.5%. Now, unfortunately, you are watching this video one day late, since it was recorded on the 6th of November. You're watching it on the 7th, since I recorded it very late. So for this reason, I had to post it the next day. But as we can see, we had a massive inflow on the altcoins, exactly as we were actually predicting, especially on our Macedonian channel, which is our base channel. That's Crypto Media, in case you want to check it out. So practically, as we can see, this is the part that we are expecting to be the best part for us. Why am I saying this? Because let's not forget that right until this point, we had a sleepy, very, very sleepy, we're talking winter dream sleepy retail sector. And from October, which was 18 out of 100% of views that we currently experience on Google Trends on Bitcoin, from our previous all-time high, which was in the 2018 bull market, we have rose in only few days from 18 to 26 in November. So we actually rose 8 points, or 8% of the views that we had in our previous all-time high in the 2018, about people that are actually searching the word Bitcoin. 8% we rose in only few days, from October to currently 6th of November. So you can imagine how this will practically progress once we get to the point to have another all-time high and then another all-time high. You understand my point? So once we wake up, practically we have woken up the retail sector, we can see all these giant buys that we had from the institutions like BlackRock or Fidelity or Bitwise, etc., will finally do the trick. Obviously, yesterday we had a little bit of a pullback, as we can see this last few days. Why? Because I can imagine the institutions were not sure what to expect. Obviously, since democratic presidency would not have been good for the crypto industry. Why we're saying this? Because obviously there was literally no promises, not even mentions about the crypto industry in US in the campaign of Harris, which is not the same for Trump. So that's why today we saw a massive inflow of capital. We will see tomorrow what is going to be the inflows of the Bitcoin spot ETFs, and I can imagine it's going to be massive. But let's see. We will do this in the next video when we are going to do a technical analysis in 2 days' time. Practically, it's going to be the next day. That's going to be on the 8th of November. Now, in the same time, let's not forget that on the 7th of November, we will be having, right about the time that you are seeing this video, we will be having the next FOMC meeting, which will be held on the 7th of November, together with the press conference for the FOMC meeting, which will be held, practically we're expecting to have another rate cut, which will definitely be another catalyst for another run up for the whole crypto industry. Obviously, we will see the effect of this on the technical analysis, since we want to first receive the news about the rate cut of the FOMC meeting of the Federal Reserve, and then we'll be discussing what is coming next. But again, cut on, in this case, the monetary policy of the Federal Reserve is quite positive for the crypto industry. But in details, you will be able to see that on our next technical analysis video. Now we'll be starting with the altcoin news. First and most important, this is like a very fun news, but in this case a little bit late, although still valid. Trump is actually saying that Bitcoin is not a threat to the US dollar, which is quite on contrary. Why am I saying this? First of all, let's not forget that Trump is completely pro-crypto because of the amount of votes that he is receiving. Let's not forget that there is more than 50 million crypto hodlers in the US, which means there is a massive pump that he actually got from all the votes coming from the crypto investors and traders. But in the same time, let's not forget that this is going to bring a massive amount of capital and taxes for US because of the potential that the crypto industry has. So for this reason, this presidential candidate is so pro-crypto. That's the main reason, if you ask me. I don't think he understands it. I don't think he wants to understand it. The only thing he really understands is it's very positive for the inflows of the US. Now, in this case, practically what we need to mention about him is, and this is a proper testament of it. Why am I saying this? Because if you are aware that the dollar has lost 99% of its value over time, then how would you feel about something that is a lot more capable, a lot more stable, and obviously appreciates in time? It doesn't depreciate in time like the Bitcoin. Let's not forget also, March 2023, we had a situation where the banks in America, especially Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and Silvergate Bank, collapsed. Right after that, we had the second largest bank in the US history also collapse in the same time. And what did we experience? We experienced a pump of 50% up for Bitcoin and a dump on everything else, including all the stocks, indexes, and DXY index in America. So what does that tell us? That in this case, Bitcoin is a very big threat to the US dollar, but it's okay. If you ask me, the less they understand international markets, the better for us. Anyway, let's see where it's gonna get us, this situation. In the same time, we also need to mention the news about Mt. Gox. For those that don't know, Mt. Gox is a collapsed exchange from 2014, which held the largest amount of Bitcoin ever recorded in one place. And unfortunately, from that, they have managed to recover since it was hacked. And it was around 800,000 Bitcoins were actually lost in this hack. They have managed to recover around 250,000, if I'm not mistaken, and around 1/3 of that is already returned to the investors of that time. There is currently 30,371 Bitcoin that was just allocated to new wallets from the Mt. Gox wallets. Practically, they were sent to another wallet, and obviously, this made a bit of FUD on the market. So we experienced, in this case, some 2% down. That was on the 5th of November. Anyway, what is important about this is that let's not forget that most of these people are massively in profit since the time that they lost Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, obviously, in 2014, it was massively lower than the price that is currently, around a few hundreds. So in this case, it's a big possibility that we will have, let's say, liquidations the moment that these people actually receive their Bitcoin. Is a big possibility they will exit the market. But let's not forget in the same time that we have these massive institutions that are currently buying everything that is entering the market. So I don't think there's going to be a big event. I don't think it's going to be a black swan event, to be honest. On the other hand, let's not forget that they have also extended the deadline where this transaction needs to be practically finished. And there is like 4 or 5 exchanges that are helping with the allocation of this leftover Bitcoin from Mt. Gox. So it means that obviously this is not going to happen in one day. This is client by client by client as they are actually managing to finish their KYC. They are receiving their Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. Now we're going to talk about Franklin Templeton, which is the third largest third largest RWA or Real World Asset Tokenization Fund. Why am I saying third? Because first is obviously BUIDL. That's the tokenization fund of BlackRock. Second, I would say, is Ondo Finance, because if you put together USDY and OUSG, those two assets are actually held by Ondo Finance, which makes him the first largest real world tokenization fund, but doesn't matter. Second, third doesn't change a lot in this case. FOBXX is actually Franklin Templeton's fund with the Benji token, which actually tokenizes US debt. So it tokenizes short-term US debt, T-bills. And in this case, the best part that we actually can, let's say, take as a takeaway from all this is that they are not doing it only on Ethereum as BlackRock does, but they are doing it on several other chains, including Stellar, Aptos, Avalanche, and Arbitrum Polygon as a layer 2s on Ethereum, and on Base from practically 2 days ago. So this is the first major institutional player which is actually tokenizing securities, which is doing this on layer 2s. As we can see, currently it was mostly done on layer 1s. Obviously, most of it on Ethereum, as we can see here by the networks. So Ethereum. Then we have Stellar, Solana, and in this case Aptos as layer 1s. And then, as we can see, Arbitrum, Mantle, Base as layer 2s, and obviously Sui currently as well as layer 1. So this is a very good story. It's a very good, why? Because as you can see, in this case, we don't have winners and losers. We have a situation where obviously there is place for everybody to join the tokenization, let's say, tokenization sector. And as we can see, all these chains, they will find their place. That's the best part that we can actually take as a exemption from all this that practically is happening. Now, the next news that is coming from Chainlink. Chainlink have managed, together with Swift and UBS, this is the largest bank in Switzerland and one of the largest conglomerates in the world. It's a global bank. Anyway, why is it so important? Swift is a very old technology. We're talking post-World War II technology, which is mainly messaging system for the banks and financial institutions. Obviously, we're talking about a massive amount. We're talking about 11,500 financial institutions in over 200 countries and territories. So, what they have managed to achieve is something actually quite extraordinary. Since we're talking about a very old technology, Chainlink has been in practically the works of a special CCIP protocol, which is cross-chain interoperability protocol, made to practically connect the blockchain part of the technology to the traditional part of the technology, in this case Swift. Now, they went one step further, where they managed to practically use standard capital, which is transferred through Swift, to be able to do any kind of subscriptions and redemptions. We're talking about tokenized funds. So in this case, obviously, this was unimaginable like a year ago. But now, through this CCIP protocol of Chainlink, banks and any other kind of institutions can actually use the Chainlink CCIP protocol to practically use fiat to do, as we were saying, subscriptions and redemptions on any kind of tokenized funds anywhere in the world, which is huge. Why? Because until now, the traditional markets were not able to practically cooperate and do any kind of transactions or, let's say, cooperation between the traditional finances and the blockchain technology. For now, the blockchain technology to be used to do any kind of especially specialized transfers in this situation. Let's not forget that also this is under the watchful eyes of the Monetary Authority of Singapore. So as you can see, we're talking about very serious actors working on very serious technology. Now, next news is coming from XRP. Again, I know that a lot of haters are out there on this project. We're not going to go into details. This is not football clubs. We're not watching match. This is potential practically investment. So again, this is not a financial advice, but in the same time, we need to look at these projects without bias. So we need to use the knowledge we have in macroeconomics, geopolitics, and crypto to do the best possible decision for our portfolio. Now, what would I say in this situation? Since we have a situation where, in this case, Trump has won the presidency, and we know that Gary Gensler is practically out of the door, there is a big possibility we will be seeing a finalization of the SEC versus XRP versus Ripple practically case. If this is so, we already have two other companies that applied for spot XRP ETF, and those are Canary Capital and Bitwise. And now, since 1st of November, we have 21 shares also joining them. And let's not forget that Bitwise and 21 shares are actually veterans in the US ETF sphere, where actually they both have their own Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETF. So this is a very massive news for XRP, and we can see this is practically companies believing in the potential of these cryptocurrencies onwards, especially when we're talking about institutional adoption. Additionally, let's not forget that also 21 shares and Bitwise have applied for Solana spot ETF, including Canary Capital. And believe it or not, Canary Capital back in October actually applied for Litecoin spot ETF as well. But anyway, again, unfortunately, this material has been extensively worked on our Macedonian channel, and we will do a lot of work on the spot ETFs, believe me. Also, that's going to be part of our educational course that we're preparing for our English audience. In this case, also, I need to mention that obviously it's not going to be only spot Bitcoin ETF. Obviously, there will be altcoin spot ETFs, and there will be a lot of them. So that's going to be the ticket of every altcoin to institutional adoption. And we already have seen it with Ethereum, and I believe we're going to see it with a lot more, especially once Gary Gensler is kicked out of the door. Now, when we're talking about ETFs, the same practically, let's say, application on the other side of the pond, as you want to say, are called ETNs, exchange traded notes. And in this case, believe it or not, Vanek have managed to acquire himself a PYTH network ETN in the European, in this case, not the European Union, but the European Economic Union again, where we have a lot of, as we can see, members of the European Union, but we also have Switzerland, we also have Finland, which are actually part of the European Economical Union, but not the Union itself. Austria, Switzerland, Germany, Denmark, Spain, Finland, France, Italy, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, and Sweden have currently practically, in this case, this ETN can be traded in all these countries, which means that Vanek have actually allowed all the institutions of all these European countries to be able to invest in PYTH. PYTH is the second largest oracle in crypto industry, and it's amazing what they have accomplished in this case, since let's not forget the Chainlink is number one. It's very hard to go against Chainlink, as we have seen, but that's actually very good for these cryptocurrencies because it has, PYTH especially has a very, very small market cap. Also, there is a unique partnership with UNIPAY. UNIPAY is a company, believe it or not, to be honest, I didn't even know that something like this existed, that allows people to use virtual cards, we're talking about credit or debit cards, which are connected to this very unique and interesting platform called UNIPAY, which anything that you want to waste on these virtual credit cards will be charged against your future staking rewards. So practically in this case, let's say you have put your future staking rewards in Ethereum as a means of payment for what you want to buy right now. You use UNIPAY as a platform, and you can actually pledge your future staking rewards for you to be able to use your, let's say, virtual credit card currently to buy something. So PYTH is actually providing the reliable calculation for user credit scores and seamlessly issue on-chain credit. This will be done by the Oracle PYTH. Quite interesting. Next news is coming out of SONEIUM. SONEIUM is actually the layer 2 which will be used by Sony itself. Obviously, this is going to be huge, especially when they finally start launching games on chain. Can you imagine that? NFTs and everything coming on chain on Optimism, believe it or not. So SONEIUM, through its Minato, that's like an upgrade of the SONEIUM layer 2, integrates completely into Optimism's superchain. Superchains are actually going to be a special addition to Optimism's blockchain as a layer 2 that will be interoperability type of software that will allow all the layer 2s of Ethereum to converge into this superchain and be interoperable one into another, which is amazing. So as you can see, SONEIUM is already using that, and it's completely integrated into the Optimism superchains. Next interesting thing that definitely is very important for all the programmers out there. Maybe you know, maybe you don't, but VeChain until now was using legacy developer tools. These were separate types of repositories that could be found for all the developers out there, which needed to be used to actually manage some kind of an application. Now all this will be substituted by a SDK, software development kit, which will be released on 31st of December 2024. Very important, because this will be obsolete. It will not exist after 31st of December of this year. So this is a very good news, if you ask me, because it's going to be a lot simpler for anybody. So next thing coming out of VeChain, this is a little bit of a puff piece, but quite nice. They're actually talking that VeChain is currently, let's say, kicking ass in the real world asset tokenization part of the blockchain industry. Let's not forget that VeChain is currently absolute champion of Internet of Things, which, if you ask me, it's a bit more important in this situation, because VeChain was the Internet of Things not so long ago. Maybe there was like one or two other projects that could actually, Helium comes to mind, and IOTA, but except for Helium and IOTA, VeChain was the Internet of Things category, to be honest. And as we can see, still, although it's not the same as what they're saying here, 35% of the IoT market capitalization. Why am I saying this? Because you can see it's 5 billion market capitalization of the whole category, and currently VeChain holds around 1.7, which makes him around 20 to 23%, let's say, roughly, which still is amazing, because from the whole category to be holding 20 something percent, it's amazing. And again, let's not forget, VeChain is a big part of our portfolio. Soon we're going to do an update of our portfolio as well on this channel, so you have an idea what we're holding and which percentage, obviously. But VeChain is a very nice project, and I have, let's say, big hopes and big expectations for this bull market, for its success. Also, let's not forget that VeChain is also not so much focused on the Western countries. It has a big amount of clients from East, especially from China and from the Southeast Asia part. Hedera has a very nice news, let's say, for this project. Integrates with LAYERZERO. LAYERZERO is a special project that will actually allow Hedera to have a zero knowledge proof technology on its own. In this case, also, let's not forget that they are actually also preparing a mainnet release or upgrade, whatever you want to call it, version 0.54. Why is this so important? Because except for the fact that they have this partnership which will allow them zero knowledge proof technology, they will also have in this mainnet V054, they will have also NFTs, and on top of that, they will also have airdrops. So these will be practically things that will be allowed and integrated into Hedera blockchain once they practically have this mainnet release done. Obviously, still we don't know when, but this is something that we need to keep an eye on. Next piece of news is coming from IOTA. Why is so important? We have the Abu Dhabi, practically financial authority, allowed two companies called Realize and Neo Vision Wealth Management to be giving to their clients a possibility to transfer their BlackRock iShares and State Street's SPDR ETFs. Those are both funds that are investing in the S&P 500 fund ETF, obviously, to be transferring their shares of these two ETFs to T-bills. Practically, from what I understood, they're using their shares into these two ETFs to be able to buy. So T-bills are the short-term US debt. In this case, available in the realized tokenization fund will be actually processing all these transactions. So it's a bit complicated. The idea is that you can use funds that you have into these two ETFs to be buying T-bills into the realized tokenization fund in Abu Dhabi, in this case in the United Arab Emirates. So let's see how this is going to be done. This is very complicated financial, let's say, procedure, and this will be done on the IOTA and Ethereum blockchains. So the fund will be practically done, will be held there on this kind of blockchains. Let's see how it's going to be functioning. But in any case, any additional functionality coming for, and next interesting things coming also from IOTA is the special kind of platform called the Twin Initiative for Africa, which is actually an upgrade to the already existing platform called TLIP or TULIP. What is going to be is practically specialized digital, again, platform made for trading around Africa, which is also based on blockchain technology. Even here, they actually added the code that you can add, I can imagine, to your software or in this case, a web page, etc. Where you can also, because the interesting part is that by using this kind of a software from IOTA, you're actually using the DLT technology, and you are also compliant with the whole African continent, believe it or not, which is amazing if you ask me, because it actually makes it easier to use the blockchain technology to trade. We're talking institutional and company trading around Africa. To be honest, I really don't know exactly how it functions on a technological level, but this is the, let's say, main information we got out of this article, that IOTA has this special kind of platform which allows companies, institutions to trade all over Africa. And last but not least, there is a new, let's say, venture capitalist investor in IOTA, which will be currently giving $10.4 million to help with the, let's say, building up and enhancement of the IOTA blockchain. So this is practically something good, because again, who does in these days give $10.4 million just to help with the advancement of this kind of a technology? So obviously the Altira group believes in the future of the IOTA project. We do not own a lot of IOTA. We own around 1.5%, but still quite in our portfolio, let's say, for this time, substantial amount invested in IOTA. Next comes out of SUI. As you know, SUI has had quite, let's say, large success this bull market so far. And SUI has its own console, believe it or not. I was not aware until this news. SUI Play OX1. What does that mean? Also, not only the console, they do have also this legendary franchise called Samurai Showdown. Maybe you know it, maybe you don't. If you're my age, for sure you have played it on one of those consoles that already exist. But currently, they are preparing for a launch of Samurai Showdown. As we can see, they're preparing big time, and this is part of their push to the gaming industry. So quite interesting. At the beginning of 2025, we're expecting the launch of, in this case, Samurai Showdown. Anybody that has played this, for sure is going to have a very good time playing it again. And now we're going to have some news about the blockchain integration in the real world. These are general news that are actually showing that the global adoption of crypto is coming very fast. Now, first, unfortunately, is a negative one. where the SEC, practically in this case, the Securities and Exchange Commission, has given a Wells notice to Immutable X. Immutable X is the biggest, in this case, NFTs and gaming blockchain on Ethereum. Unfortunately, this has made the price of Immutable X drop for 13%. Today has obviously jumped back. But anyway, unfortunately, this is just another of the line of companies that are sued by the SEC, unfortunately. But anyway, let's not forget Gary Gensler getting the boot very soon. So hopefully we'll get Immutable X back into the saddle. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that SEC will not decide to continue with pursuing this lawsuit, because the Wells notice is practically just the preparation part of the lawsuit, where it's still not launched in front of a court. Let's hope for the best. Unfortunately, this is not very good news for Immutable X, but so far we know that Uniswap has a Wells notice, we know that MetaMask has Wells notice, and yet they are performing quite nice. Next bit of news is coming out of MicroStrategy. Currently, they are expecting a new, let's say, acquisition of 42 billion, where they're actually planning to sell new shares from the company to be able to buy more Bitcoin. Currently, the first part of this, let's say, endeavor will be 21 billion, which should be actually managed by issuing new stock very soon from the MicroStrategy MSTR stocks, which will be then used to buy Bitcoin. And they're planning in the next 3 years to be able to acquire $42 billion worth of Bitcoin this way. Obviously, so far it has paid big time for MicroStrategy. Let's hope that this will continue be so the case. Now, Tether has also interesting news. Now, maybe you remember, maybe you don't, but TON is the blockchain token of the TON chain, which is actually made a blockchain on the Telegram network. Now, Telegram is one of the biggest social platforms out there with more than 950 million users, which actually makes the TON network quite used and this blockchain quite valuable. Now, let's not forget that they have integrated USDT last April, and we can see that currently the TON blockchain has been the biggest and fastest minter, in this case, of USDT, and have managed since April to mint 1 billion worth of USDT tokens, or 1 billion tokenized dollars, right? So currently, because of this big success, the United Arab Emirates Financial Authority has decided to issue a stable coin in dirham, which is the currency of the United Arab Emirates, to be issued on the USDT, in this case not USDT but Tether as a company, which will be issued on the TON network. Quite good, quite interesting. And this currency will be protected, in this case, by the debt of the United Arab Emirates. We're talking about the securities issued by the country itself, and by dirham effective. We're talking about fiat dirham currency. Quite interesting, quite new, and again, talks about blockchain adoption in the world. Next comes SafePal. SafePal is one of those wallets that we're using to protect our crypto, which will be also launching a mini app on Telegram. This mini app on Telegram has the purpose of allowing you to practically use SafePal through Telegram to protect your blockchain. Obviously, do transactions on Telegram as well. And believe it or not, this will be coming with a compliant bank account. So practically, by using this mini app, you can do KYC and acquire yourself a bank account. This will be done by the Swiss Financial Market Supervisory Authority. So they will be in charge of the KYC, and they will be allowing you to connect your bank account to this Telegram app, which is also protected by SafePal. So it's a very convenient partnership for all the parts in this, let's say, endeavor. And I hope there's going to be, as we can see, more and more applications, more and more, let's say, traditional finance ways are there to do on and off ramp of the blockchain industry. This speaks volumes about the speed in which the traditional finances are coming to blockchain. So we're talking about mass crypto and blockchain adoption throughout the world. UBS, again, we already talked about this, one of the biggest conglomerates of the banks in the world, is currently doing a specialized tokenized financial funds. Practically in this case, what you can do is you can use your current capital, we're talking about fiat, to be buying tokenized money market investment funds. So in this case, this is a special token that you can acquire through your account in UBS called UMINT, which will give you a share in their money market investment fund. Now, this money market investment fund can be used to buy anything in the US currently, obviously. We're talking about special money market funds throughout the US financial sector. But you practically will be having, I can imagine, part of it by holding these tokens, and obviously later on maybe dividend and whatever comes out of the money market investment fund, which is quite interesting because let's not forget that not so long ago the banks were the biggest opposers of the blockchain technology, for now themselves to be the ones using it in, look at this, serious investment vehicles. Now, Telekom, which is actually the Deutsche Telekom, let's not forget where it is coming from, and Bankhaus Metzler are two massive companies in Germany. Let's not forget that Deutsche Telekom is, if not the biggest telecom industry in Europe. Now, currently they will be using companies around Germany that has excess energy coming out of renewable sources, which will be then practically transferred to the Metzler company, which will be holding the capacity for Bitcoin mining. We're talking they will be having miners, obviously, which will be using this excess energy that cannot be stored and used or sold to mine Bitcoin. This is massive because, again, let's not forget that Europe is currently really pushing for the renewables markets. And in this case, every excess or surplus of energy will be used to mine Bitcoin. Quite, let's say, quite good use of this excess energy that otherwise will be lost. Hong Kong is currently issuing every kind of licenses there is for the crypto industry, obviously in the expectance of the bull market to come. Currently, they have issued the first broker license to a company called Victory Securities in Hong Kong, which is also, as you know, this is practically a company that works in helping investors to invest in the blockchain industry. So this is quite interesting because, again, by issuing the first one, it means that a lot will be following afterwards, because as you know, the problem is to break the ice. Once you break the ice, it's quite easy to actually continue and issue licenses to other, let's say, respective players in this area. And Pakistan as well, the same situation, is regulating cryptocurrencies and CBDCs with a proposal to the parliament on November the 4th. So if this parliamentary proposal passes, they will have effective cryptocurrencies legislation, but not to ban it, but to completely regulate it together with a CBDC project for its Pakistan rupee. Let's see how this is going to play out. But again, let's not forget that the Southeast Asia has one of the largest amount of crypto investors and hodlers in the world. So this is going to be good for everybody, including the country and the investors themselves. And last piece of news we have is coming practically all around the world in 2024, where in this chart we can see every country in the world and the amount of tax you need to pay after 1 year holding Bitcoin in your bags. Now, as you can see, there is all different kind of countries with all different kind of taxes. I can imagine this is going to be quite useful to you. Let's not forget this is coming out of one of the biggest accounting companies in the world, PwC. And currently, since I'm living in Malta, as you can see, after holding Bitcoin more than 1 year, not only Bitcoin, but any kind of cryptocurrencies, we are paying zero taxes. One of the main reasons why I do live in Malta, beside the hot weather and the sea. Now, if you did like our channel, I would advise you to like, share, subscribe to this obviously channel and this video. We will be doing a lot more material. This is obviously because of a popular demand. Otherwise, we will be sticking with our Macedonian channel. But trust me, this is just the beginning. We will have a lot more to offer on this channel regarding macroeconomy, crypto, and geopolitics. We are planning to do the whole package for you. So we hope that you are going to support us. We hope that you are going to subscribe to our channel and obviously like if you like this video. And then later on, you can find in the description of every video that we have the social media that we're using currently and obviously our YouTube channel. So thank you for the ones that are following. I hope that you are going to continue and obviously enjoy the job that we do for every crypto investor out there. And we see you in the next video. Respect from Crypto Slavia, and we see you in the next one.